on the paws. G'day guys, in this video I'm going to talk to you about fishing jerkbaits for bass. So I'll tell you how to fish them, where to fish them and when to fish them. Today I'm fishing in southeast Queensland, but this technique works anywhere where the bass are associated with structure, whether that be lily pads, weed beds, timber, or even just bluff walls, rock walls, those types of things. I'll give you a run of the setup first. I'm running an NS Blackhole Medusa. It's a 6'7" rod and it's medium light. I typically run 7-foot rods, but for this style of fishing, I much prefer a shorter rod, and I'll explain that a bit later on. So the reel I'm running is a 25 size. You don't want to go any smaller, and if you go any bigger, it sort of becomes a bit cumbersome. For the main line, I'm running 12 pound, but this is the new Siglon PE8, and at 12 pound, it's still only a 0.8 PE, so it's very, very thin. You'll notice I'm running a multicolored line. The reason for that is a lot of your takes on a jerkbait are on the paws. So with the multicolored line, especially this one has meter markers on it, as you pause your line and it's sitting near the surface there, you can watch for a telltale tap from a bass. They won't necessarily eat it first go, they might just tap it and you'll see that line tick. So then you know there's a fish there, you can give it a couple of short shakes and just keep it in that area, or even put another cast back in there later on. Leader size for jerkbaits really depends on the terrain you're fishing. I like to run anywhere from 6 all the way up to 12. And the only times I run 12 pound is fishing really heavily timbered areas. Not so much that the timber you're casting to, but where the timber carries all the way to the boat, so you don't really know what you're coming back to. Places like this with lily pads and the odd timber probably run 6. The leader I like to run is Sunline FC Sniper Invisible. You notice the colour of this line matches the colour of the water. I run this line everywhere that I fish. I'm super confident in its abrasion resistance, as well as the fact that the fish can't see it. So on the business end, today we're running a Pointer 65 XD. The reason I got a little bit deeper jerkbait on, I sounded past these weed edges earlier, and you could see the fish just sitting on the outer fringes in around that sort of 10 to 12, some up to about 8 feet. So you really, if you run those shallower jerkbaits, you won't be able to get down to them at this time of year. One very important thing that a lot of people overlook is your hooks on your lure. A jerkbait, depending on the time of the year, is a reaction lure. By reaction, I mean you are causing the fish to bite. You're either tempting them with when they come to have a look at it and you give it that twitch that they want to eat it, or you're irritating them and you'll catch them on the side of your face. So it's really, really important to run a super high quality treble, or you'll just miss those fish that swipe at your lure. I use a high quality Japanese hook by Vanfook. I run the Stream series in the size 8. It is very, very important that you run a good quality jerkbait that suspends. And when you change or upgrade those hooks, don't affect the way that the lure suspends. A lot of the fish take it on the paws, and the idea of that is you twitch it, you pause, the lure just sits exactly where you paused it. Doesn't move, doesn't sink, doesn't float, doesn't do anything. So you need to make sure you still keep your lure suspending. You can basically fish jerkbaits off and on the entire year, apart from the heat of summer. When it gets too hot in summer, the fish obviously push back from the edges and they go and school up. Now I'm going to show you the importance of a shorter rod. There are 2 main reasons, but the most important one is the twitch. So you don't want to, obviously when you're striking down like this, if you're on a 7-foot or longer rod, I'm pretty tall anyway, but if you're on a 7-foot rod, you're going to be splashing into the water like that. It's not going to be very effective on the lure. So what you want to do is you actually want to twitch the lure on a slack line, similar to walking the dog. You give it 2 snaps like that and you'll have a little belly of the line, and all you're doing is snapping that line. You never at any point want to move the lure with your reel. You don't want to wind it at all, and you definitely don't want to pull it. So what you want to do is you just want that lure to basically be sitting still. It goes snap, snap, and then sits there again. Snap, snap, sits there again. My other reasoning for running a shorter rod typically gives you more accurate casts. Jerkbaiting is a lot about accurate casting near the structure. You're trying to get this lure right where the fish are. They're not necessarily active fish, but you're trying to get right in their zone, and with these small twitches, you're keeping it there. Ooh. That's a better one. That's a much better fish. Very nice bass. It's a pretty big bass for this lake actually. Very happy with that fish. My PB bass for this lake. That is big. You can see his cheek swiped that. That's the importance of changing those hooks. The rewards, very big fish.